In this video, we're going to focus on creating the quadrants here, and we'll make sure that the quadrant will align itself accordingly if we have different numbers on our scale. So let's start to explore how to do this. So let's start to look how to create a background quadrants in chart.js 4. So the first part is we need to make sure we have the boiler template, which you can find here on chartjs 3.com getting started. Once you're on this link, scroll down and copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to have the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page. And of course, if you want to join the Discord channel, check it out as well. All these links are in the description box. So the first thing to do here is to convert this into a nice scatter chart. So we're going to work here and say type scatter. Once we did that, I need to make sure that the data is correct as well. So we're going to make here a array, and then within here we're going to put in this x, let's say number 3, and then y number 3 as well, comma. What I will do is I will copy this, duplicate it 2 more times, there we are, and then say here 1.5. So we have a slight difference, and this should be a point, and here for the y 1.5 as well. Save this, refresh, and you can see here now we have a scatter chart with nice points being highlighted. So now we have this. What we want to do is work on creating a custom plugin because we're going to have these quadrants. So we're going to say plugins here. I'm going to give the name quadrants. Quadrants, copy this. Then we're going to create here our quadrant plugin block. Constant quadrant equals the ID of quadrant. And then we're going to say before the dataset has been drawn, or we will draw this before the dataset. So we're going to say a chart, arcs, and then the plugin options. So we say the plugins here, and then we're going to say a constant, and we're going to do here an object destructuring. Again, if you don't understand what I'm doing here, make sure you check out the video in the description box, understanding chart.js object destructuring. For this, what we need here is the CTX, because I want to draw on the canvas. We'll need the chart area because I need to have the coordinates of those. We're going to get here the left, the right, the top, the bottom, width and height, although I don't know if we need those two. Finally, we'll need here the scale, so I'm going to say here X and Y scale. So once we have this, what we want to do here is start drawing the chart items or drawing the shapes here. So to do this, I need to have certain values. In this case, you can see here our scale is slightly off. I'm going to put it on 0, and later on we're going to make sure it will be clever or intuitive enough to understand that when we have different values, the color of the quadrant will adjust along. So what I'm going to do here is in here, I guess we can just put it in, in here the scale, the X scale, comma, we say min value, or you can say begin at 0. In this case, I'll just use min value, say minimum is 0, so we are 0 to 0 here, and then here 3 by 3. Alright, so now we have this. What I want to do now is start to get what we call the center. So we say constant center x will be equal to what exactly? Well, in this case, we know the center would be 1.5 by 1.5. So for center x, it will be 1.5. Then we say here for the constant center y, we'll make this 1.5 as well. So once we did that, refresh, what we want to do next is to draw the shape. So what I'm going to say here for the shape, we need to calculate a few things. Because we have this 1.5 here, which is a value, but that 0.5 or the 1.5 needs to be converted into a pixel coordinate, so we know exactly where on the chart area or in the canvas it will be drawn. So that's what we're going to do right now. So what I'm going to say here is I'm going to say a constant, and I'm going to give this a limit x, and the limit x for now I will just say here x get pixel for value. Basically it gets from the x scale, this x is referring to here, and then get the function from this built-in function from chart.js. I'm going to say here now this here, so the center x. Later on we need to soft code this so we can control that nicely. The same logic I'm going to use, but then for the limit y, and then limit y we say y get center y. So once we did that, we can start to draw the item here. And well, what we're going to do here, I'm going to just first start with ctx save, and we're going to just draw the first shape. So we're going to say here ctx.fill style to give it a color. I'm just going to say here RGBA. I'm going to make it very simple, 0, 0, 0, and then we're going to say here 0.1. And we want to put this in the top left position, or the left corner, the upper left corner. So what I'm going to say here, ctx.fill rectangle to draw. We need the x coordinate, the y coordinate, the width, and the height. So what I'm going to do here is for the x, we're going to say here, this will be the left side, because I want to start at this very left starting point, all the way here to the halfway. So we need to be also on the top. So the x here is for left, the y is the top position. Now we need to have the width. So the width is basically whatever this value is here. Well, we can put this in here for now. Copy that, put it in here. And then for this here, I'm just going to say here, limit y. I'm going to show you to get a visual, and then we can fine tune it. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on here. So if you look very carefully, you will say, well, hold on, it is not stopping at the right point. And the reason why is we get the width, we started here, but the width is calculated from this point all the way here at the very point of 0 for the x. So that means that this part here, which is the scale area, basically is the left, or everything before the left area of our value, that needs to be deducted. So we're going to deduct that part here. So what I can say here, limit x minus left. If I do that, save, refresh, you can see here now we get that. And then the same logic will go for the y. And the y is going down far too much because of the top value here. We have this legend space. So we're going to say minus top, save, refresh. There we are, that works. So what I want to do now is get the next shape. And for the next shape, we're just going to use the same logic, but this one, we're going to say 0.2, so it's slightly darker. And now we're not going to work from the top left, we're going to work now top right, which would mean that we need to start at this coordinate here, which is on the y pixel, basically this item here, the limit y, or maybe limit would be not the right term for it, but you can imagine what we're doing here. So say limit y, but I still want to stay at the top, and then we need to have here the width and the height. And now we have to see, what do we need here? Well, we'll be needing here, we're going to grab the I guess the x limit as well. And what we're going to do here is we say here from the very right, going to calculate the right side minus this area here. So the right would be the pixels from this point to here minus this to here will basically give us this square here. So I hope you understand that one. If you don't, well, let me just show you. Let's say here this, and then I guess we can use the same logic here for that. But this one we need to, let me just give you a visual. All right, as you can see here, we're far too far. So then here, what I'm going to do is, we start on the right, minus the x limit. There we are. Now we get only that specific corner. Let's go down for the next one. So the next one will be 0.3. And what we want to do here is starting basically from the bottom. So, or what we could say here with the x. So let's see what we're going to do here. We need the x. If we are, hold on, let me double check. If we're doing the x, we're going to start here. Well, we can do the right bottom corner first. So we're going clockwise. So we're going to say here, this will be fine. Then I need to go halfway down to this here. So we have to push this down. We can get here the limit y. And then here we need to recalculate the width and the height. So how do we recalculate that? We can basically grab the logic of this one already. And then here we have a slight different logic for this. We're going to say bottom, which is basically calculating this point minus this area here will give us the rectangle there. So we're going to say bottom minus the limit y. Save, refresh. There we are. That works nicely. So now we have the final one, and I guess the final one is just identical except slightly different. Identical on some parts, but I guess on this here we need to fix. So here what we need to do is basically grab the logic from this one here. So I'm going to grab this, but maybe, or well, let's put it in here and see if that will make sense. All right, that doesn't make sense. What I need to do is here probably the opposite. So we say here, cut that out. We say left minus that. There we are. And of course, give it a darker color. Save, refresh. There we are. So now we have these 4 quadrants here. However, what I don't like here with these quadrants is if I would have here a minimum of 1, what will happen? Oh, all right. It will work nicely. I was not expecting it to be immediately like that. Let's confirm that if I say here max of 2, save, and that works nice as well. All right, so that works extremely well. So then we have that done. However, what I do want is the following. You can see here we have these colors. We have also these hard-coded numbers. That doesn't make any sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert these numbers into our plugin. So what I'm going to do here, after the scales, so pay attention here, I'm going to say plugins. And then in here, I'm going to create a new object, and the object name will be quadrants. Yes, that's the ID name that we have given it. So if it's quadrants for ID, so plugins going into quadrants, which is basically plugins, quadrants, and now we can control the values. So what I can do here, we have here the center Y. I'm going to copy this, and we can just say center Y. This will be 1.5, and then center. Oh, so that was center X. We have a center Y as well, 1.5. What I want to do now is grab that one in here. So what I'm going to say here, how to refer to that and say plugins dot, we don't have to put in quadrants because the ID is already given. So it understands that logic. And all we're going to say here is just center X, because the value here is center X. You could give it anything you want here, limit or whatever. So I'm going to keep it as center X, and then I'm going to do same logic for center Y. Save that, refresh. There we are. As you can see here, nothing changes, but fundamentally behind the scenes, we have done a lot. So the next thing, of course, is how can we assign a nice color. So what we can do here is the following. I'm going to say comma. You can say here quadrant colors. So say here maybe the colors. We could do, for example, colors or colors here, and then we're going to put in the color in here. Say top left, and this could be let's make this blue, and I'm going to grab in and put in a few more. Top left, top right. I'll make it red, and I will leave only those two, so we will skip the bottom left, bottom right. So that will mean that we need to give a default value for these, but also for the others, and same with this, because if you don't give any value, it will not draw anything at all. So that's what we're going to do next. So you can see here we have this, and I guess we can make here already the center. To calculate the center, I'm going to show you another way, or we're going to grab one specific value from the scale. So I say console log X, that's the scale for that, and then save that and refresh. Open up developer tab. You can see here once I refresh, we get a lot of data. But what I want is basically the scale for X between this and that. The difference of this could be from the min value or max value minus min, or we just get the value range. This is an underscore. It's not always wise to get this, because they might change this. For now, I will take the risk to do this because it's a quick fix for us and we don't have to do a calculation. But another way would be max value minus min value. I'll just grab this one, but so you have the understanding of why I take that one and whatever you need to change it if ever. So if I save that, refresh, we get the value of 2. That is correct. So what I want to do is, if we get this value here, which is 1.5. This is 1.5, but if there's no value, I just want to get the center of the scale here, which would be number 2. So that will mean else this divide by 2 plus x scale min. And if we just we just copy this and put it in here. Let's see what we get. Save, refresh, and that is 2 as well. So the center is 2, and then we can just cross-check this by saying min would be 0.5, and let's see what we get then. There we are, 175, which would be somewhere here. It's really in the center of the chart, but not in the center of the scale. Well, it might be, but it's not. This is a controlled way to do it. And this one here is just getting a default value if the user did not specify anything. Alright, so now we have this, and I think this makes all sense. We can do the same logic for here. I'm going to say here y. I'm going to say here y. Save, refresh. Alright, so that would mean now if I don't have this specified, the center y and the center x, it will just automatically get the center of the chart itself. So that works nicely. There we are. That looks very nice. So now we have all of that. What I want to do now is we have the colors. Let's do a default color here and get the colors that we need. So I'm going to say here constant. I think it's here constant. I'm going to say here top right will be equal to, let's grab one of those, or this is the top left, so this is top right color. But of course, what I want to do here, that's the default. So I say here plugins dot top right semicolon. Let's copy this a bit. All right. So we have top right. So I make this 4, 3, and 1. So this will be bottom right, because we're going to use clockwise structure, and this will be bottom left. So this one will be top left. All right, so left, right, bottom left, bottom right, sorry, and then bottom left. So once we have these colors, I'm going to see if I save that, and then we need to give this proper name. This will be left. This is left. That should be left, but this one will be bottom left, bottom, top right. All right. So we got that. I want to grab this one now and just see if we can put in the color here. This is for top left, top right. We could almost make a function out of it just to repeat, because you see here we are repeating everything here, but that's all right for now. Let's save that, refresh. There we are. So now we have that nicely. So what I want to do now is, while we have all of this, hold on, I do notice that my top left colors is, my bad, I made a mistake. We have to grab the colors because the colors should show here. So what I need to do here, plugins, colors, 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 colors. There we are. So now we extract the color here. That works nicely, although this is a far too strong color, so I don't recommend that color. And basically that's it. I would definitely not recommend these colors, so I will just remove them here, but there we are, and that looks absolutely phenomenal. If we adjust that, we should be able to readjust as well the value. So let's say let's make it 1.2. If I do that, you can see everything else will start to match with it, 1.2, and then this here, you could change this and say maybe this will be 1, and let's see what happens here. It goes down. Beautiful. This works nicely.